it's pretty
Thank
clear that
God.
Bills Mafia wanted to add to this wide receiving room. We're going to get to DJ Moore here on the next topic, but when you look at the money that Alec Pierce received, that Rashid Shaheed just ended up receiving, are you still feeling some type of way, or was that to a point, or like I could even add in Mike Evans as well, who signed a 3-year contract at what, 33 years old, right over there with the San Francisco 49ers. Are we, fine with that once we saw the numbers and said, actually, maybe this DJ Moore thing ain't all that bad? Kevin, talk to me.
I was alluding to DJ Moore, 300 targets under. Back up. The problem with DJ Moore is he's going to have a little bit of this stigma of Curtis Samuel of like, oh man, like another guy from Joe Brady's Carolina tenure. Yes, he got 300 targets, was super good, was really good. So what? We've seen this rodeo before. I think that really hurts him, unfortunately, although it should help the fact that he's gotten 300 targets and the success he's had in 2 years underneath Joe Brady. It kind of hurts because of Curtis Samuel and what Curtis Samuel turned into, a very big bust. Wasn't overly expensive, to be fair. Curtis Samuel wasn't extravagant, really wasn't, if you're looking at. The biggest thing that I'm saying here right now is when I see Jahan Dotson get up to $8 million per year, he has 249 yards last year. So it just is what it is right now in this market. That's why I think Josh Palmer's tradable, by the way. But anyways, I think that hurts DJ Moore a little bit, but I'm a huge fan. Anybody you talk to for the culture fit, he's great inside the locker room. He's a veteran presence that has been missed. He's great in the community. He runs in a large route tree. The biggest knock on this right now is the price. Was $24 million and then guaranteeing future money, was that going to be worth it? We've seen this before with what, as I mentioned, a couple other players. And I think that's the price when Alec Pierce goes for what he went for. And you're talking about $30 million receivers. Michael Pittman was a good example of someone comparable, and he went for a lot less and got to redo a deal. I think DJ Moore is better than Michael Pittman. But ultimately, same tier, same style. So you're affected by the price a little bit, and that Curtis Samuel stigma of the past of like, ooh, I don't know that that's necessarily the world's greatest thing. I just think he's a better player. He hasn't missed a game in 5 years. That's one thing we desperately need, if nothing else. He's a really good runner, top 5 in the league in deep passes. So you don't really think of him as a deep pass receiver, but top 5 over 20-yard receptions in the league. So he's a gamer. When Caleb Williams needed it most late in the year to win against Green Bay, it was DJ Moore. It was not Rome Odunze. And Rome Odunze's got to pick up now for the slack left. And Luther Burden's getting a lot of buzz. So we'll see how that turns out. But DJ Moore was who we went to, Dan, down the stretch.
And so I sort of look at the largest complaints were, number one was the second round pick, because I know that early reports said that it was going to be a mid-round pick. And how I kind of look at it is this: was there anybody in the second round on your draft board that would have given a contribution close to what a veteran wide receiver would bring the Buffalo Bills in 2026? Maybe that guy could have developed, but I feel like that, we've been pounding the table, hey, where's that energy of going out and actually making a right now, let's win move? So that's particularly why I wasn't all that upset about a second rounder, because I just couldn't see a guy coming in and being a star-studded caliber player in year one. I just couldn't see it, right? And then when you look at his production for the past couple of years, I also like pointing to the fact that, wasn't it 2 years ago when we saw that clip of him sitting on the bench in Chicago looking visibly frustrated, not talking to anybody? And we were already sort of thinking, okay, with Moore clearly is not happy with his current situation. For some reason, he was pissed off that Fields ended up getting traded, and they ended up going on ahead and bringing in Caleb Williams. So that may explain that first year with Caleb. That and Caleb had a rough first rookie season. Then you enter in a Ben Johnson, who's not really the type of offensive mind that's really going to attack outside the numbers. He loves running the football, loves attacking inside with his slot receivers, his tight ends, just pounding the rock. And like you said, right? He has had so many different game-changing and game-winning type catches. I feel like I look at DJ Moore, and yeah, he's not a Justin Jefferson, right? He's not that name that's going to excite guys, but he's checking all the boxes of what I feel like Bills fans wanted last year. You want a man beater. You want somebody with a full route tree. Want someone that you can trust in crunch time, playoff time situations. And I just feel like he checks all the boxes. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but Good thing is that as long as we exercise, like that salary and make it more so $6.7 million per year, I could care less. You add him, I think he's the best receiver we've had on this team since Diggs. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. Z-Bot, thoughts?
Well, the initial problem was that in the age in which everyone races to get the information out first, it was reported that the Bills were giving up a mid-round pick. So you already had that in your mind. When you come to find out it was a second-round pick, I think that's where people got frustrated, including myself. I had convinced myself we're looking at a third, fourth rounder here, then it becomes a second rounder. So you were mad about a scenario that never even existed in the first place. If you were told right off the bat it was for a second rounder, sure, there'd probably still be frustration, but I don't think it would be nearly as much as there was based on the fact that people thought it was going to be a later round pick. So we're looking at the situation right now where Mike Evans goes to San Francisco for about $20 million per year. Alec Pierce stays in Indianapolis for about $30 million per year. Then you have DJ Moore right in the middle. So you have Mike Evans going into year 12. You have Alec Pierce at 25 years old. Then you have DJ Moore, who is 28 years old and is or 29 years old, right smack dab in the middle. So it kind of makes sense. You're getting the older guy in Mike Evans for $20 million. You're getting Alec Pierce for $30 million, the younger guy up and coming, right dead in the middle, both in years and in terms of money being paid, is DJ Moore. So you're looking at what Alec Pierce got. And I think Brandon Beane looked at this and said, I am going to sacrifice pick 60 to not get into a bidding war come Monday for somebody like Alec Pierce that I'm going to have to overpay for to get out of Indy. Because it was rumored that he was getting higher than $30 million offers outside of Indianapolis, but he wanted to stay in Indy. DJ Moore, the second he lands in Buffalo, is the second he becomes Josh Allen's top target. It's the second he becomes wide receiver one. It is the second he becomes the best receiver the Bills have had since Stephon Diggs. The problem is outside of like five guys, Puka, Jamar Chase, JSN, Justin Jefferson, everyone views every other receiver in this league as a wide receiver too. If you're not one of these 5 or 6 household names, nobody wants to give you credit for being a wide receiver one. But when you look at the body of work from DJ Moore, what screams wide receiver one more than what he's done throughout his career? He's been the wide receiver one, both teams in which he's been on, and he's had 1,000-yard years more often than not. People are pointing to the fact that he had a down year last year. Well, it's because his targets were nearly cut in half. He had 80 targets. Khalil Shakir had 95. If you don't think that DJ Moore is going to come in and have 125 plus targets with Josh Allen in year one, I don't know what team you're watching. So there's no way he's going to have as rudimentary a stat line as he had in 2025 with Buffalo, just sheerly based on the fact that his target number is going to go up substantially. So you're looking at the money being paid elsewhere. I don't think this looks as bad today as it might have looked 3 days ago. I think since the Bills were the first team to make a move on a receiver, the guaranteed money going into 2028, the second round pick, I think people were frustrated. I'm fine with this. I mean, what beggars can't be choosers. If there was one thing we were begging for, it was for Brandon Beane to go make a move at wide receiver, and he did exactly that. And now watching everything play out here, I think he got it. He got DJ Moore for right around what the anticipated number was going to be should he had not gone to Buffalo. So what would you then want Brandon Beane to do if he didn't get DJ Moore? Did you want him to spend $32 million a year on Alec Pierce? Did you want him to spend $22 million a year on Mike Evans, where you mentioned, Dan, 3-year deal? That's going to put him going into year 14. I mean, I don't think that would be more correlated to a Curtis Samuel type move than I think DJ Moore's move represents that. Kevin nailed it, though. This is the problem. Right now, with the bargain bin hunting, Josh Palmer not panning out, Curtis Samuel ends up getting $400,000 a catch in Buffalo. Everyone's going to immediately look at this move and say, well, the guy's going into year 9. He's coming off a year that wasn't his best. This is just the same old. I don't view it that way. DJ Moore right now, better than what Curtis Samuel was before he was even entering in. And Curtis Samuel was just one of those moves where you were like looking to just add depth, it felt like, and you were hoping you had something there. You don't trade away a round 2 pick, and you don't take on this guaranteed money without thinking he's going to be wide receiver one. Is he Justin Jefferson or is he Jamar Chase? No, but can he be that for Buffalo? And the answer is absolutely yes. You're looking at Alec Pierce right now, $30 million. That's $5 million a year less than Justin Jefferson. This is what the market has now become. Just because he's not a household name or just because he's not considered to be one of the best receivers in the league doesn't mean he can't be wide receiver one for Buffalo. So the way this is all panned out, I'm excited about it. What I do think takes this trade from maybe like a B+ to an A is if this is just one of the moves at wide receiver, whether that be Brandon Beane adding an additional guy this week, whether that be free agency, a trade, or of course in the draft. I think that elevates it. If this is the only move, sure, it's better than what the Bills had last year, but I think it gets better if the Bills add an additional body at wide receiver, which I think that they will end up doing. So all told, I think this is going to wind up looking pretty good on the part of Brandon Beane, how it all went down.
And so where do y'all think it is going to be addressed? So will it be yet another like cheap type free agent? I'm thinking like the Kirks of the world, Hollywood Brown, where with Josh Allen's actually said that he would love to play with him or he likes him, right? Both of those guys are sitting at around like $4 to $5 million AAV. Or do you still think that we may be targeting a guy with pick number 26 or with our first pick if we decide to like trade down? Zeba.
I think they certainly could target a wide receiver in round one. And if they do, once again, I think it elevates this trade to the nth degree. I think it really, because we had heard that the Bills were going to be aggressive in the wide receiver market. You know, aggressive can be defined many different ways. To me, aggressive is like what the Ravens just did to get Max Crosby. That's the definition of aggressive. This is slightly aggressive, giving up a second round pick and going and to get DJ Moore, but I don't think it's this massively aggressive move. To me, addressing the wide receiver room in an aggressive fashion would be adding more than just one body. So I think we're starting to get into aggressive territory if Brandon Beane gets DJ Moore and then goes with a wide receiver in round one. Shaheed off the board now. I was thinking maybe there'd still be a possibility, him or Romeo Doubs, who's still available. But you saw Shaheed get, around $17 million or so, but he's not the guy that was going to come in and be wide receiver one like DJ Moore could be. This is why I was looking at the idea of Moore or Doubs being added and thinking to myself, well, that would be great. It's better than what the Bills have right now, but should that be the only move, that to me doesn't move the needle. So if you're able to go out and do something like get Doubs or maybe something else of the sorts, that would be amazing. But I also think the draft is where the Bills should absolutely address this position. It seems to be as deep as it's been in a while, constantly finding value, our teams in the draft year in and year out at wide receiver. And I think the Bills have got to take another stab at trying to do that. So I hope that's going to be the move. Obviously don't have that second round pick now. So if you want top tier value at wide receiver, it's going to have to be their first move, Dan. Wouldn't shock me at all, though, if it's something Brandon Beane does, because I do feel like they're not done at wide receiver with just DJ Moore.
And so what do you think on that, Kev?
I think there's a couple ways to acquire. So I think receiver at 26 is going to be interesting. Like, will they go boom, boom, basically runner on their first two draft picks? I think they could. It would take a continued defensive overhaul or haul of players that they sign here in the D. Alford range. I'm sure we'll touch on him in a little bit. But when it comes to what are they going to do here with I have 7 needs going into this year starting today. Obviously not including McGovern or DJ Moore. Starting the day today, I had 7 needs, one of them being nickel, and I would assume they check that off. So I have 6 needs like that I really think that they need to have to be in the Super Bowl. So receiver is one of them. So if you don't get a Dobbs, what's left? I mean, you're not going to pay Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs, I don't think. So they're out. So you're really looking at Dobbs. You're looking at Deebo Samuel. I know the Bills have been interested in him in the past. You've mentioned Kirk. Darnell Mooney does a certain skill set, and so does Tyquan Thornton. They do certain skill sets that you're looking for. I mean, do any of them move the needle? That's the question you'll have to answer, because I think they could very well be in on one of those players. They're not done. I don't think that Palmer or Coleman, one or the other, is going to be on this roster either. So I don't think they're done here. So if they go defense, super defensive heavy right now, I think that it's certainly in play in the draft at 26. That receiver is there, but we can't go in having safety, linebacker, edge. Like, they got to do stuff there if we can really use that one big asset on receiver. A trade back's probably possible at this point if I'm looking through my notes, but there's still some linebackers I like. I think Dobbs would change the equation. I think he is good enough to be a second tier guy. So I think that there are a few names left, and we'll see if between Brady and Brandon Beane, if someone like Deebo Samuel's skill set is something they're looking for here too. So they were very actively close to trading from at the deadline. So, and now we just saw Shaheed leave. So we'll probably see some final movement on some of these top tier receiver talent. And then we'll probably have a better answer next week